talking to somebody this morning. Storm has come out of nowhere. I mean, a financial storm just showed up on your doorstep. I mean, a storm of financial calamity showed up at your doorstep. A storm of sickness. You weren't even expecting it, and a storm of sickness came knocking on your door. A storm hit your family. A storm hit your children. Lord have mercy. A storm hit your economy. It hit your job. It hit something that was close and precious to you. For sometimes storms just come out of nowhere. And so this morning, I believe that we got to know how to deal with the storms that come out of nowhere. We've got to have applicable, practical information that helps us to deal with storms that approach us and that attack us out of nowhere. For the relevant question for us this morning is, how should you and I deal with the storms that will come? How should we deal with the storms of life that shall come? And I want to suggest to us this morning 4 steps to dealing with storms. 4 steps to dealing with storms. Yes, 4 steps to dealing with storms. The first step, number 1, calm down. Number 1, calm down. Now check this out. The disciples did the complete opposite. The disciples were not calm, y'all. They were not calm. In fact, they were coming apart. Well, it's almost as if they forgot who was on the boat with them. Right. For remember, Jesus is asleep. Jesus is asleep. They're up top and Jesus is down low. And the disciples are not calm. They're not calm, y'all. They're restless while Jesus is resting. What got me was the fact that they're awake while God is asleep. And they're up while God is down. The disciples cannot calm down because they're not in the same place as God. For during this storm, their God is asleep on a pillow in the bottom of the boat. And if God is down during the storm, why are we up? If God is down, why are you up? If God is resting during the storm, why are you restless? If he's down, why don't I calm down and join him? If God ain't losing sleep over this storm, why am I? If God ain't tripping, why am I tripping? If God ain't tripping while the wind and the rain and the hail is breaking loose, why am I tripping? I got to calm down. Why? Because God is on the boat. Tell your neighbor, calm down, calm down, calm down. That's number 1. Number 1, we got to calm down. Number 2, we got to check our instruments. We got to check our instruments. We got to check our instruments. One of the things that we learn from pilots is that they can't fly off of feelings. Why? Because they will crash and kill themselves and everyone else on board. You see, pilots fly off of the instruments on the control panel. The instruments on the control panel gives them direction so that they do not get into what is called spatial disorientation. Spatial disorientation is when pilots feel that they're going up when in actuality they're going down. This is why they have to go by the instruments on the control panel and not by their feelings. Lord have mercy. Help me to preach this. You can't go by your feelings. You got to go by the control panel. You've got to check your instruments. You got to check your instruments. The disciples during the storm forgot to go by the instruments on the control panel of their soul. And so instead, they respond out of their feelings and not out of their faith. For they did not trust the instruments. They did not go by their faith in God. They went by what they saw, forgetting that we walk by faith and not by, where's my church at this morning? They felt that they were going down, when in actuality, God was going to take them over. Somebody missed that. Somebody missed that. They were not going down. Verse 35 says, God tells them, let us go across to the other side, which means that God had pre-approved their travel plan. Who am I preaching to this morning? God had pre-approved their destination. For if God is on the boat, no matter how it looks, oh my God, no matter what people say, we're going to make it. Oh my God, I wish I had some help up in the balcony. We're going to make it to the other side. For the fact is, we can't care what it feels like or what people say. We've got to learn to check our instruments, check our instruments, check our instruments, check our peace, check our joy. Lord have mercy, check our faith, and know that if God said it, guess what? That settles it. I'm going to the other side. I feel happy this morning because I learned I need to check not my feelings, but I need to check my faith. I'm going to the other side. Tell somebody, check your instruments. Check your instruments. Check your instruments. One, you got to calm down. Two, you got to check your instruments. Number three, if we're going to deal successfully with the storm, we've got to communicate our circumstances. We've got to communicate our circumstances. We've got to communicate our circumstances. In verse 38, the disciples went down where Jesus was asleep, and they woke him up. And they asked him, they're communicating with him, they're talking to him. You could literally say that they're praying to him. And so in their prayer, they say, do you care if we perish? Now, they communicate their circumstances, but they communicate from a place of weakness and not strength. They're operating still out of their fear and not their faith. Well, it's almost as if they run downstairs and they wake him up, not to calm the storm, but to calm them. They're not approaching him and communicating with him from the vantage of power, but from the vantage of panic. We're perishing. We're panicking. Is that your prayer? We're perishing. We're panicking. Is that your prayer every morning and every night? We're perishing. We're panicking. Is that your prayer every day? Lord, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Lord, I'm perishing. We're panicking. It's as if they forgot that just a few hours ago, God had met them in power on the same boat. Oh my God, I feel God in the house there. God met them with power in the same place that they're now panicking and confessing that they're perishing. Look, y'all got to stop confessing failure. You got to stop confessing sickness. You got to stop confessing economic calamity. You've got to stop confessing all of those things that bring you down. Stop confessing negative emotions and energy. You got to confess that my God is great and greatly to be served. And if God said it, good morning, y'all, that settles it. They're communicating panic. But I believe in every storm that comes our way, whatever the storm may be, I believe that God is trying to communicate his power in an individualistic and a communal way to us all. And we must learn to reciprocate communication of our circumstances back in power. What do you mean? Well, here's how the disciples should have communicated their circumstances. It should have gone something like this. Hey, Jesus. Look, you ain't got to be cute when you're in a storm, right? Hey, Jesus. I'm in a storm. It's your boy down here. And I got wind and I got rain and I got hail everywhere. Is anybody afraid just to get real with God and say, you know what? Hey, God, it's me. And I'm sick, I'm broke, I'm depressed, I'm walking in doubt, and I know I can't do anything to stop it, but I've seen you work before, I've seen you heal before, I've seen you deliver before, I've seen you make way before, and what you did before, would you mind stopping by and doing a... Who am I talking to? Stop by and do what you do, Lord. And y'all, like the pilot to the airport tower, when we communicate our circumstances in faith to God, don't God know what to do? For God knows where we are, God knows who we are, and God knows what to do. And I've learned whenever God gets up from sleep, what's wrong gonna get right. What's out gonna come in. What's down will come up. Because he may not come when you want him, but I know I serve a God that whenever he comes, he's always, wish I had a church right about, he's always, I got some help in the balcony, he's always, didn't have the money for the bill, but he's always, didn't know what the doctor was going to say, but he's always on. He's always on time.